All right, Spill the Matcha fam, welcome back. And I'm actually here with a guest today. We have the beautiful Sola. Welcome, Sola.
Thank you.
We're going to do a little traditional thing right now, all three of us, because Khaled is still here in the background. Our little matcha cheers. All right. Sip the matcha. Before we spill the matcha. So, Sola, I always like to open up when I have a guest about how do you like the matcha? How's the matcha going for you?
I just don't think my matcha flavors are developed.
Okay.
I think it's still a little bit like mud taste.
Mud. Khaled is celebrating in the background right now.
But I wish I thought it was like delicious because it's very aesthetic to drink a lot of matcha.
Exactly.
I was even in Japan and I tried once. I don't know.
You're not into it. Well, yeah, you just came back from Japan actually. Yeah. And funny story, the matcha that we're drinking is the matcha that Sola brought me back from Japan. So we are just drinking the juice right now. So please feel free to drink it or not. It's fine. I'm not offended by it.
On it. I'll have to. It's acquired taste.
Exactly. No? It is an acquired taste. It will take time. So Sola, I'm so happy to have you here with us. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, of course.
And everyone's always calling you Sola, but I know that your name is actually different.
Yeah.
Tell me how to pronounce your name.
So my full name is Sólveig Sigurdardottir. But Sólveig, like my first name is like Icelandic, obviously, and it's pretty hard to pronounce. So I started out with the name Sol.
Okay.
Like I think back in 2016, and then when I started like my CrossFit journey, and then I changed it to Sola because I just thought it was like more fluent, Sola than Sol. Always when I said like Sol, people are like, Sol, like what? So I changed it.
But like the sun, like Sol means the sun,
yeah,
right?
in some languages.
In some languages, yeah, exactly.
It does. And Sola actually means like alone in
Spanish
as well.
Okay.
But I don't know, and Sola just quite stuck with me. And some Icelanders actually call me Sola as well.
No way.
When they don't know me, they think my name is Sola, which is actually not a name in Iceland.
Really?
So it's stuck, quite stuck on me.
Does your name mean anything in Icelandic?
I think it's like the warrior of the sun or something.
I love that.
But like it's not like a direct translation. I had to like look it up. It's not like, some names, exactly what they mean, but mine doesn't really. You have to look it up to see it.
Well, Sola, we're so happy to have you. And actually, like you mentioned, you are from Iceland. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who don't know, she is actually a CrossFit Games athlete. And I wanted to bring you on because I am so fascinated by your journey, by how you came to be, how you got, first of all, how did you even come to Qatar? Like, how did you get here? Like, from Iceland to Qatar, like, what a change for you.
Honestly, I think it's all because of CrossFit. Like everything that's happened, like since I started competing, has been quite like a direct translation, or like a cause of CrossFit. So I actually just got a job offer that I couldn't refuse, and it quite came at a good time in my life as well, because I wasn't quite sure what I was gonna do like after the last season. And I got this job offer and I was like, well, why not? I've always been, like quite free spirited when it comes to like living. I haven't lived in Iceland for a long time.
Okay.
Or I think since, or like for the last 4 years, I haven't really lived in Iceland.
Okay.
So, for me, moving abroad, there's nothing, very, big step or serious. Like, obviously it's serious, but it's not something I need to like.
You're a wanderer. You don't mind it.
I don't mind it. Honestly, like I know I will end up in Iceland when the time comes. Yeah. But like I love for now I love traveling and I love getting to know different cultures, and I always know that Iceland will be the same when I come back, and it's since I was 17, I went on an exchange year in Spain.
Okay.
So since then, like, I came to the realization, like, you think you're missing out on everything, but the truth is, like, it's gonna be the same when you come back. And obviously I miss my family, but yeah, I know, or hopefully, if we'll have all the time in the world together. But right now I have these opportunities, and like, I can do it. So.
And it's very brave of you to like just like, up and go, because some people like take that for granted, and some people wouldn't do it. They're just kind of like, I've never heard of Qatar, I've never been to Qatar. Like, what does this even mean? When you heard of Qatar, like you're gonna move to Qatar, what was like the first like thing that you thought of? Like, oh, what did you expect when you got here?
So actually, my sister's boyfriend
Okay.
has his dad and family live here.
Oh, okay.
So my sister has actually gone to Qatar before.
Okay.
And when I was like, Qatar, like where even is that? Like,
Yeah.
and then she was there, like with her boyfriend and the family, and like showing us around, and I was like, wow, like this is very like foreign.
Yes.
But little did I know that I'd be moving here.
That's
like,
crazy. So you came here on a visit the year before you actually moved?
No, my sister.
Okay.
So I just saw the pictures.
Okay.
But I've been to like Dubai for a month at a time, like twice. So I know the Middle East like a little bit.
Okay.
But obviously Dubai and Qatar are very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very foreign. But I came for a visit in July.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you came at the peak of heat.
Yeah, I know. Like,
you were just like baptized in heat at that point. It's like, welcome to Qatar. This is the hottest it's going to be. Welcome to the approximate temperatures of like hell. So like, yes. Wow.
And then I moved in October, like 1st of October.
Okay.
So actually, like the season now, up until now, has been wonderful.
Yeah. It's not going to last. We're approaching that like desert season where it's just like, we can't be outside. We can't be outside. So you obviously train in CrossFit right now. And the first time I met you was actually at Strongbox, where you just walked in and everyone's like, have you met Sola? And I'm just like, I have not. Hello. And let me just tell you something. It's so amazing to actually get to know you, because I think people often have this misconception of like, elite athletes, and they're just kind of like in their bubble, don't want to be talked to, don't want to be bothered kind of thing. But you just walked in and you were just like, hi, so nice, so approachable. It was just really a breath of fresh air, because I was like, I don't want to bother her. Like, she looks like, like maybe I just shouldn't go to. So how do you, okay, obviously you have fans. You have people that are just like, oh my God, so like, does it ever get like surreal? Like, oh my God, I have fans. I have people that know me, people like I've never met in my life that follow me, follow my life. Like, how does that feel getting to that level?
It feels like quite weird and surreal. And I'm glad that you thought that I was like approachable and everything, because I've never, I often get that I'm like not approachable. Okay. And I think it's a very Icelandic thing. Like, we're very like closed off, but obviously I'm in a new country, so I need to make an effort, but I think we're very much like introverts by nature.
Okay.
So I'm glad that you say that you thought I was approachable, because I can sometimes come off as not. Like, if you come talk to me, like I will obviously give you, the time, but me coming to people and like starting a conversation is like, I don't know, it's not in my nature.
Okay.
But I will be nice. Like, I'm nice.
Yeah. When someone does approach you, yes, you'll make the conversation. Yeah. You'll say hello. But it's amazing. So you went to the CrossFit Games in 2022. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, so a lot of people, they look at CrossFit, especially in the CrossFit world, they look at CrossFit Games athletes and they're like, how did you get there? What did you do? Like, how do you train? How do you eat? How do you sleep? Like, they want to imitate that at the hopes that they can get to that point as well, right? And so what I wanted to ask you first is, like, before CrossFit happened in your life, did you play sports? What was your, like, did you even like the gym? Like, how did you get to CrossFit? What was the journey to get you to becoming a CrossFit athlete?
you know, back in 2000, I started in 2013.
Okay.
I think I probably would have started sooner, but I was in Spain. But that was at the time where Annie won her like first 2 years. So, and like obviously Iceland is small, so you know, we're all very in each other's business. You know, everyone knows.
Village life.
Yes. Everyone knows. And then these little CrossFit boxes started to pop up like everywhere. So after I came from Spain, I, you know, just needed something. I had never played any sports. Like I was in handball for a little bit, but I was never any good.
Okay.
I'm not like a natural talent or anything like that. I didn't do gymnastics or I was like, you know, in different sports like for 3 weeks.
Okay, at a time.
Yes.
Just dipping her fingers into everything.
Yeah, and I didn't like, I wasn't very athletic as a child.
Wow, that is not the answer I was I was expecting. Wow, okay.
But obviously, like, back in 2011, 12, 13, CrossFit was very young. And I had the opportunity to like grow with the sport. Yeah. So like before I went to the CrossFit Games, I had already been training for like 8 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? True. So it's not something that just like stumbled upon, you know, like I'm not this raw talent. Like people have to understand that back then when the sport was so new, like the level was quite low. So if you different, right? Yeah, if you could like, I remember in Iceland, it was like maybe 2014, 15, people were like, okay, who's going to be the first Icelandic girl to like clean 100 kilos? Like this was like, nobody had ever done it. Like, but we still had like Catherine and Annie and, you know, all of this amazing athletes, but nobody had ever done it. And, you know, now if you can't clean 100 kilos, you have no business in like the semifinals. So even. So it's being able to like develop and grow with the sport made a huge difference. Sure. I don't think if I would come in like untrained today, in 8 years I would be at the games. Like the level is just like developing so fast.
It's wild, right?
It is very wild. And so yeah, I mean I think that's one of the reasons why I succeeded. I think another reason is because you know, you always talk about how Icelanders are like so strong and like we're good athletes, but we're so few. But I think it's because like we are so few and so like, you know, you could say like close together, or, you know, like if some girl does something, you know, I'm like, why can I do it? Like
it's kind of like challenge accepted.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you come from Iceland, you train in the same gym. Yeah. You know, like, what's the difference here? Like, why can I not? And I feel like we're all like integrated like this, like a little bit like warrior mentality, a little bit. So I think that kind of, it gives you like a push.
It does, right?
Yeah.
And I like that warrior mentality because I saw your pictures at the CrossFit Games and your face was just like, woof, like, whoa, like in your zone, like in your bubble, like basically. How did it feel when you walked into that stadium? I want to know like what you were going through, like what was in your head? Like you're on a stage with some, you're one of the most incredible, like you are part of the most incredible top athletes in the world, right? So how did it feel?
I would like to say it felt like incredible. Obviously it feels good, but the feeling I'd been chasing for like all of these years, it didn't really live up to expectations.
I love that. Okay. Okay. More.
Yeah, okay. It's quite sad actually. Or, you know, it's sad, but I've been like trying to like dig into like why it felt like, I don't know, like anticlimactic a little bit. But just for example, I think, you know, I've watched all of these girls, you know, for years and years, and like all of the Icelandic girls as well, which like hits a little bit closer to home, you know, like make the games and like compete, and and you always think like, wow, they're so like amazing and like so strong and like such great athletes, and you always think so much of the other person. So when I actually qualified for the games, like I didn't expect to qualify. Well, obviously I went into the competition wanting to qualify, like that was my goal, but it wasn't a given, and I didn't know how the competition was going to go. But when I did it, like it was fun, but at the same time, like my immediate thought was like, okay, like if I can do it, apparently anyone can do it. Apparently it's not that hard, like I immediately started to like, I felt the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, it's a little bit sad because I didn't get to enjoy like the moment I worked hard for it, you know what I mean? But I don't know why it just felt like that. And then at the games, I was just, I don't know, I was going through some stuff as well that just a little bit like destroyed the feeling and the experience of it.
And the fulfillment, the achievement of like being there.
Yes. And I just, it didn't... it's weird like this with these goals,
right?
Where when you achieve a goal that you've been wanting to achieve for so long, and like all of your life has been like put on hold for that, and then you achieve it and you're like, okay, like this is not like my world didn't shift. My life was still the same,
Was it because you put like so much, maybe you expected so much to change, and you were just like expecting these feelings and expecting like to feel something, and then all of a sudden you're there and I'm like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
The expectation probably was bigger for you in your head. And obviously you worked hard, like you said, to get there, and like, probably made some insane sacrifices to get there as well. And it's crazy that you said that, because that wasn't what I was expecting. No. Like, like it's so crazy that you gave me just a reality of it, like a dose of reality.
I mean, I think it can go either way. Like for some people, it lights the fire and you're like, okay, like this is what I, like this was all worth it. Like, let me go another year. Like everything will just, center around this goal again and again. And then I think it can go the other way, like it went with me, and you just don't know like
which way it's gonna go, right? Until you get there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that was a turning point in your life? Like,
yes.
And so you obviously, I know a little bit that you did make a big decision. Like after you went to the games, you obviously evaluated your goals, right? Like you kind of saw like, all right, maybe this isn't what I imagined it to be. You had to shift gears, right? How did that happen for you? Like, I know that takes a lot out, because this is all you've known for a while now. But for you to make a decision, you did want to do another season, correct?
Yeah, I did another season.
And how did that season feel?
Not great.
Okay.
So like after the games in 2022, like I didn't want this to be my experience. So I did go another year because I was in good shape, and I felt like I owed it to myself to like try again
one more time,
and like who knows what would have happened, like, but then things just didn't feel, they never felt the same. You know what I mean? And to make the games, like I was dedicated, like I did everything I could, like I really, really like tried, and it wasn't that I didn't try, it wasn't that, but you have to like find that reason, why.
Of course,
why. It's a cliche, like you find your why, blah, blah,
no, but
blah.
that's so true.
It is true. You do need something to drive you, and I just didn't know what that was anymore. I think ironically, like I often think about like, okay, like why, like what was it that made me so like fearless, and like what was it that drove me? And I sometimes think like I was in pretty like shitty relationships. And I sometimes think like, is that what drove me? Like I had to like prove myself.
Got you. Okay, now I understand. Okay, yeah. I get you.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, that's a good fire though. That does keep the fire going. Yes.
It's maybe not for the right reasons, but it is a fire, and it's like, you know, prove myself to myself.
100%.
And to like other people. Like, was that something?
Was that the driving force kind of thing?
And then after the games, like in 2022, like 6 months after, like obviously I had started the season and everything, and but then I met my boyfriend now, and like it was just so different from every relationship I've been in, and I suddenly had someone who like loved me for who I am. And you know, like it doesn't matter to him if, you know, what level I am in a sport. Like, it's
not the merits, right? It's not exactly.
And I don't need to prove myself in any aspect.
That's beautiful.
You know, and I sometimes feel it was what like obviously my fire was like a little bit starting to burn out, but like that was just
put it out. We're done. The fire was out.
It's not bad. Like,
no, it's not at all. Not at all. No.
And I tried really hard to find another why. Like I was like really like, I'm not saying this is the reason. But I am saying like, I never had like a clear why. So I've been like questioning why like I succeeded and then I didn't, like, and this is just like one theory I've been like, okay, maybe it's
like
this,
dabbling with,
but obviously like I wouldn't change anything,
of course,
for the world, like I wouldn't,
of course,
but
it brought you to where you are today, right? And it's funny that you said like that fire, because when it comes to relationships, there's always this saying, and I love this saying, is that some people give you fireworks, but some people are your fireplace. And you know, and you just want to like settle there and just, you know, be like, I'm okay here. There's no fireworks. There's not necessarily like that fireworks, like, well, I have to do this, I have to do that. But I just want to sit, and this is enough. And that's so beautiful that you found that, like, honestly, like amazing. But I do want to also like track back, because you said like you dedicated yourself to getting to where you're at. And a lot of athletes always wonder, because it is kind of an elusive thing. We like a lot of CrossFit Games athletes do show their lives. Like they'll give you snippets of it, but they're not telling you everything. And I do admire, you know, athletes like you, and then Haley Adams who went, and then Mal O'Brien who like also like, you know, went out there and just like, my mental health is deteriorating. This is not what I signed up for. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. That's very vulnerable. And, you know, we appreciate that, because we see you guys, honestly, like we put you on a pedestal, and we kind of are like, oh, they're untouchable. You know, they're not, we almost think you're not, you forget that you're humans at that point, you know? So the dedication, I want to get into that, because some people have this kind of misconception about what it takes. What does training like? What's the eating like? What's the sleeping like? Like, I feel like your life revolves around it at one point, correct? So I just want to know, like, what did it take for you? Because you can't speak upon other athletes, but what did it take for you to become an elite games athlete?
Honestly, I think my turning point was I started going to Mallorca. Like, I was living in the UK studying chiropractic for 2 years, and I started on a program, the program, it's called the program, and they're based in Mallorca. And I often went from the UK to Mallorca, and like there are wonderful people there, and they like, you know, took very good care of me. I always got like a place to stay and everything. So it was really easy for me to just go, like it's one flight, it's 3.5 hours. So like going to Mallorca was like no biggie.
A lot of European athletes go there as well. I've seen Elena and then Milan. I think both of them also train there.
Jacqueline Dahlström. And at that time, Gabriela Magala was there, and her boyfriend Christoph. and Jacqueline, obviously.
So you're surrounded by that eliteness, right?
Yes. And I started like training a little bit with them. Obviously very high level. They were much higher level than I was when I started coming to Mallorca. And you know, like I became very good friends with Jacqueline. Obviously the group was always like, it was just a good push.
Yes.
And then I started like, you know, hanging, like I could hold on, you know, and then sometimes I would like even beat them, like, and stuff like this.
Damn.
It's like it gives you that confidence,
Of course.
and you can't go anywhere without that confidence.
Definitely. And I love that you started in a place where you weren't the best. So I know that some people are very intimidated sometimes into going into like past their comfort zone, right? But I love that you mentioned this, because you have to surround yourself with people who are better than you, right? Because if you're the best one in the room, I think you're in the wrong room. That's what I always think. But you made a decision. I'm going to go to this place because there are some elite athletes out here and they're going to push me and they're going to get me super uncomfortable. And then you slowly began to get better and better. So what was a typical training day for you?
So we would always like do separate things.
Okay.
So it wouldn't become like, because too much competition is not healthy 100%. Either. So we would all have our own programming, and then we would just show up at the gym and do our own thing, except for Saturdays. Saturdays where you would dread that day like all week, because Saturday was like competition day, and then we would usually go on like a run, like a mountain run, always the same mountain in the morning. And sometimes he would make us go like up and down, like up to like 12 kilometers.
Wow.
in the morning. And then we would go and do, or like have breakfast together, have a little chill. And then we would go and do, what it's called like the MASH.
Okay.
The program has these like grueling long workouts.
Wow. How long are we talking?
Like an hour at least.
Like nonstop.
Or like you'll do like, and maybe get like 3-minute break and then 3-minute break. So it's like a long workout.
Yes.
And we would all do that together.
Wow.
So, and like it'll be a competition, you know, like I know I'm not the best one there, but I'm not like going down without a
fight.
Yeah, and giving them a push as well. And I think it's like me and Jacqueline, for example, very good friends still today, but we pushed each other, and like we're very different athletes. Like she's very good in gymnastics while I'm like strong, and then we can like
complement each other.
And grind it out a little bit in the endurance.
Yes.
But you know, she will push me in certain things, and I will push her in certain things, and I don't know, it just it gave me like the confidence to be like, okay, I can actually like, I might be able to do this. You know what I mean? And then I didn't have anything to lose. I think that was the
I like
thing.
That. Okay.
And yeah, it just, I think that was what brought me to that next level. Like definitely being in Mallorca. And I'm very grateful for all my times there.
Of course.
Honestly, like it was amazing.
And how do you eat as an athlete?
I usually had like a nutrition coach. And I think eating enough is like a challenge.
Well, how many? Like, do you know how many calories you're consuming a day?
Yeah, when I was training the most, I was consuming like almost 3,000. Maybe I went over sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like it's a lot of food.
That is a lot of food.
And it's sometimes scary amount, because as obviously we all have these body issues. So
yes, we do, girl. Yes, we do. Yes.
So like when you're training that much, like obviously you need the fuel, and it can, my nutrition coach would like gradually like increase a little bit, because if he would put me at 3,000 something calories, I'd be like, there's no way I'm eating all of that. Like there's no way. So like gradually increasing. So yeah, I was often eating like 450 grams of carbs, 65 grams of fat, and like 155 grams of protein.
I can't even imagine the amount of hours in a day. Like I can't even imagine eating that much.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you always like, your nervous system is shook after. So like eating on top of that, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So you eat a lot of like, I'm not saying it's good, but sometimes it's needed, like the sugar drinks and stuff, just to get the carbs down, and like cereal and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay.
Just to get the calories in, because you just need it.
So it's not always like the healthiest,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that's no.
Misconceptions. Everyone's always like, yeah, I need to eat, my steak, my potatoes, my vegetables. And then I'm just like, there's not enough steak and potatoes in the world, like to get you to that amount of like,
there's no way you can.
Yeah, the macros that you need to eat in a day. Okay. I want to circle back to the body image, because you're a woman, obviously. And, women athletes, we always have it, right? I don't know what it is. And I'm sure men have it too, but we want to be strong. And with being strong comes a different image than what, like, I'm going to put it in quotes, feminine look is. Did you ever struggle with that?
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, it's funny now when I've like stopped like training that much.
Yes.
Like I struggle a little bit. Like I've always wanted to be, like more petite, like, and now when I can't stop training, it just shifts. I struggle now with like,
I don't look athletic.
I want to be athletic, but like so you're never really happy, honestly. Like I've seen that now, but and then it comes, okay, so you have first of all like this muscular body complexes, like I'm very strong, like my body can do great things.
Yes.
But I'd like to wear a dress sometimes and not feel like,
Thank you.
know.
You know what? Thank you for saying it. Thank you, Sola. I appreciate that from you. Thank you. Honestly,
No,
I agree with you 100%.
I go to Zara or Bershka or whatever, and like I see all these like cute summer dresses, like strapless.
Yep.
Like I can never wear. I'm like this is just not for me. Like I can never.
Because the arms.
Yeah, and you have. But then again, you should just embrace it and everything. But it is a little bit hard because you get the looks and you get like, I don't know what people are thinking when they look at you, but they are looking, and it's like you get very like self-conscious about it. But maybe thankfully when you're this elite athlete, you don't have many social events to go to. That
the social event is the gym.
Require you to, and I mean, you look good in gym clothes, like
we do. I agree with that. I love that. I love those leggings. They hug in all the right places. Like the sports bras, like get the muscles out. Yes, I agree with you. I think when I'm in my gym kit, I'm the happiest. Yeah. And then I struggle when I look in my closet and I'm like, all right, I'm going to look at my feminine energy out here, but if I put on the dress, it looks like, wow, okay, she's got muscles in this beautiful floral dress. I get it. And I love that you said it, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, she's an athlete. This is how she's supposed to look. But as, women, we like to look, cute sometimes, and just, petite, like you said. Yeah. Feminine, but it doesn't give us the performance that we need, right? Like that.
You can't have both. And like, I know this, and so, this has always taken like the backside. Like I don't really think about it anymore. Like if I want to be an elite athlete, this has just got to, like, this is a sacrifice. But then you come like into another area of like body image that you don't, like, you are surrounded by all these competitors, and then you don't feel like you look the part. Like you're not in either direction, you feel like. So you feel you like in a competition, obviously there are like 40 women competing for the same spot or prize or whatever, and you feel like they all look much more athletic than you. And I think it's like, for example, just having abs, like we know this is a very genetic thing. Yes. And like I've been like I've made the CrossFit Games and competed there, but I still didn't have like these defined abs. Like it's just not in my, like, my body is just not like that.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
But you always feel like, because you don't look like that, like that they're going to be better than you, and that they're like, you get that, like, this little like insecurities in that direction as well. So
It's wild.
I mean, it's just never ending.
It is never ending. It's crazy. And I love that you mentioned the six packs, because I'm just like, every person's just chasing them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not, doesn't mean that you're necessarily strong, because some people have a defined toned abs, but they can't do what someone who probably doesn't have them does, So it's just like, I know that sometimes our business card is our bodies. It's like, oh, well, I want to look like her. I want to be like that. I want to perform like her. But at the end of the day, the reality is like your body's going to look the way it's going to look. Like you cannot compare it to someone else. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you can do more or less than someone else's because you look a certain way.
No, and that's why I love like girls coming up, like, for example, Laura Horvath.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like
yes. I love what she said during that when she was in the interview that she said.
But she's just like, like she is just so happy with. I'm not saying it's always been an easy journey for her, and it probably is still like she's just like the rest of us, but like thankful for what her body can do. And like she's not the leanest, but she's the best,
Yep, 100%.
So I do like that.
I loved it too. It was a very empowering message when she, they were asking her, what do you want to say to like the people in the stands? And it was just like, it doesn't matter how you look. It's what it's what my body can do. And like you said, it's probably been such a journey for her, because you said she doesn't look like the leanest person in the arena.
Yeah.
And you probably are looking at her like, oh my gosh, like, it's mind-boggling. Like people expect certain people to do certain things just because of the way they look.
Yes.
But I remember I saw an interview about an Olympic athlete, and then she was, in the Olympic gym, and they were all training, and she said, I looked around and there were different body images all around me, and they all could do different things. So it just depends on your sport, right? It depends on what your body looks like when it's at its best, performing at its best, not like when it looks its best necessarily. I love that you talked about that, because I feel like, especially as women, we have society obviously has, oh, you need to look like this, but don't be like this, but look like this. Like you want to be an athlete, but don't look like an athlete. You want to be petite, but don't be too petite, because then you look like, it's just all of these mixed signals that we're always getting as women, and just like, what do you want from us? Yeah. And it gets into your head, and it's wild. It's crazy. I want to circle back to CrossFit, because you did mention something about like, how it's evolved over time, and how I'm sorry, like sometimes I look at the workouts that I'm like, really? Like you want us to do that? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
No, honestly, like I often think about like 2016, 15, 16, 17, like it was just so fun. Like back then it was just so much fun, and I miss it. And I think honestly, like my year, like 2022 was like maybe the last normal year, because since then, and even at the games, like in 2022, they already started like bringing out this, like I was like, can we just do some CrossFit? Like, is this not the circus?
Thank you so
and
much.
I know I'm very biased because I wasn't a gymnast, so these exercises for me are like maybe a little bit like harder than for some people, and I'm like more pissed about it, but it's just not like, if this is the direction it's gonna evolve in, like I it's not fun for me. Like it's not
fun for anyone who hasn't done gymnastics, let's be honest. Like it's like, sometimes I'm like, okay, toes to bar I can get, muscle ups, all right, fine. And then you're adding these flips now that they're, like the new thing where you just have to like go over and over the bar. And I'm just kind of like, if you're not a gymnast, you've never done this in your life and you're trying to figure it out. And I just remember there was a moment where like they did double unders, but with crossovers.
Double under crossovers. They didn't even bring out the triple under before. I was like, why did you just like skip a step? Exactly. And I know like CrossFitters are supposed to be like, oh, like you have to adjust, prepare for the unknown, but like at some point things just get a little bit out of control and ridiculous. I do miss the old CrossFit where you could just like, I'm not saying like they have some of the workouts like that, but when I competed, it was like almost all the workouts were like something new gymnastic thing, and it's just like it beats you down because you just want to go and like do some thrusters and rowing, like. Thank you. Then,
I love that.
I don't know, like just some grind workouts. It's not just like who's the best skilled gymnast.
100%. Add a little bit of gymnastics in there, fine. But like,
it's fine to have some, like they do have some of it, and still the best gymnasts are gonna win. You don't need to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
But I don't know which direction they're gonna take. Honestly, I think CrossFit is a little bit in a midlife crisis right now, and that's just what I've seen. What I've like picked up on, and like everyone is like talking about it.
Yeah.
They do need to fix things if they don't want to lose all the elite competitors, because they're just like, obviously it's a private corporation, like they can do whatever they want.
100%.
Which is like a little bit of a curse for us.
Yes.
For the athletes, because they can just literally like do whatever they want, and they don't need any explanations or anything. So like what we're seeing now with obviously I'm not competing, but I'm watching what's happening, and these new or like they always change, like each season you don't know how it's gonna be. Like they change it so often that they spin you around so many times, like, oh, now we're gonna have it like this, now we're gonna have it like that, and like how you get to the games always varies, like each year.
Exactly. And you can get to the games, and then when they get to the games, sometimes like the workouts like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean if you got to the games that the workouts that you succeeded in are gonna just show up again. Like it's just a totally different ride, right? Like it's crazy that you mentioned that, because I do sometimes feel, so I came into CrossFit much later in my life. You're talking about years where I used to go to the gym, look around, and CrossFit was very new, like you said. I'm like, what are they doing in there? Like, you know, like, what is this CrossFit? Like, it wasn't even like a buzzword at that point. But coming in as, you know, at a later time in my life was very frustrating for me, because I think it had already evolved past like, you know, you say it used to be that you have to clean 100 kgs. That's like the minimum weight now. Like, I can't even imagine where it's heading. So it is frustrating for new people to the games.
So obviously it's gonna become a sport where you have to start
like when you're 3,
early age.
like when you're 3 years old,
you're gonna get groomed for CrossFit. Like, that's it. If the sport continues to evolve, like that is how it's gonna be. Like there is no like starting at 20 something
or 30 something, like over here, like just woke up one morning, like CrossFit sounds like a good idea.
I mean, I still believe in it, like you know, just an exercise method.
I love it.
It's good.
Yes.
Like I will always think that. But there is like a huge difference, and like I think there's a huge difference between like the everyday athlete and the elite athlete.
It's a very big gap.
It's a very big gap, and do
you feel like it should be closer?
No, definitely not. I think CrossFit as exercise like methodology is good up to like to a certain point, because people will get greedy that have no maybe business like being greedy, because they will see the elites like do a muscle up and stuff like that. So I do agree with some exercises in CrossFit, but the other, like the elite exercises should just be for, I feel that's my opinion, for the elite athletes that are equipped to do it, because I see too many people like injuring themselves, you know, with the butterfly pull-ups and stuff like that. And it's like, I get it that you want to do it, but like the butterfly pull-up, for example, it will break your body if you're not equipped for it. Like because you swing and it takes all the like tension out of you. Like you can use your body weight to get up, and like, and then you go around and around, and your shoulders are not strong enough, so you'll end up injured. So I feel like having CrossFit for regular average Joes is good, but you need to keep it like very base, and like just do like keeping pull-ups is enough damage, you know, like, and like the handstand push-ups and the pistols and the handstand walk, like it's just unnecessary to
expect it out of just like an everyday athlete, correct?
And you can get like very fit doing all the other things and keep your body intact, you know.
100%.
And I feel like that is a little bit like, obviously when you're an elite athlete you try your best to keep your body healthy, but everyone is hurting. Like, it is so much pressure on your body and your joints, and like, I guarantee, like, there's not one person at the games whose body is okay. Like,
they're destroyed.
Everyone's destroyed. Joint issues, like pulled a muscle, like meniscus problems. Like, I am very, I'm interested to see how elite athletes now are gonna be in the future, like when they're
older. Like, where's the longevity in it?
Yeah, like how the bodies are gonna like work through that trauma that you put it through, like for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good point.
It's very, like, I was just beat, and it's hard going season after season. Like, you're always, and you can never rest.
No,
you can't rest, because then your season's done. Oh, you know, like for me, like, I'm like this bubble athlete. Like, it's not a given for me how the season's gonna go. So like, I cannot not squat, you know, for weeks or months, because then
it goes. There goes the strength. No, it's crazy.
So it's a big mental toll as well.
Definitely. It's mental health as well. Like, you know, like mental health, like, really plays a big, like, just an impact on your performance. Because if you're not mentally healthy, or if you go into the gym and, like you were saying, like, it was tasteless at one point. Like, you're just like, why am I here? Like, what's my why? What's pushing me? If you don't have it, you're literally just going through the motions and being like, what am I doing here? Is it like, what am I putting my body through? Like, unless you have that, like, that why. And even if you're good, I'm sorry, Mal O'Brien was doing great, and then all of a sudden she's just like, I'm out.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, like, these young girls.
She's like 18. Like, she's young, you know.
And Hayley Adams as well. And it's just impressive that they put their mental health first, because that's a big thing. Like Mal, she was expected to win, and like win 100%. For years. So it's like it. Well, they obviously started when they're very young. Of
course.
So that's interesting to see as well. Like, the pressure when you're young,
at a younger age.
Like, going like season after season, you know, the pressure is tremendous.
You have sponsors, you have people who are like depending on you, like you have like contracts that you've signed. Like, it's different than just, I'm an athlete now.
Yeah.
You now have people who have invested money and time into you, and you're not just showing up for yourself, you're showing up for them as well, because like, well, I represent this box, and I represent that brand, and I represent this supplement, and it's just it's a job. It is.
It's a job that looks very good on paper. Like me, when I was at the like peak, I had, I think, 7 or 8 sponsors. Wow. And it's like, it's a job that looks like very, like I said, very good on paper, but it is actually like very draining. And it's not for everyone. And now I don't have any sponsors. Like, I stopped everything, like, after, because it was just too much for me.
Wow.
And and people, and I will like tell my friends, like, I just stopped it all. Like, and they'll be like, why? Like, like, I'm being given money, like, for nothing, you know what I mean? Like,
but it is for something.
You didn't have to do anything. Like, you just needed to post, and like, why? Like, it was such a sweet, you know, like, I get these comments, and I'm just like, wow, you clearly have no idea.
Nothing.
And
like, that's your time as well.
Yeah, that's your time, and that's your image. That, like, selling your image is very, like, draining sometimes.
Yeah. Because it's energy that you're giving, right?
Yes, and I don't know, like, it's not as good as it sounds. Like, some people thrive in this. Like, I know some people that are like obviously like influencers, like, excellent.
Yes.
But sometimes when things weren't going good, you know, like, I wasn't feeling good. I just wanted to disappear. And
you still had to do these things.
You just can't. Like, you have so much responsibility, like, for always keeping people up to date. And, you know, like, and it's just, it can become exhausting.
And draining.
Very draining. So, and I just felt like it weighed heavy on me. And I said, I cannot do this anymore.
That's so brave of you. Like, I'll be very honest with you. Like, some people are probably listening to this like, just crazy. But like, no, that's you put yourself first. You literally made a decision. It's like, you know what, Sola comes first, and everyone else can just like buzz off at that point. I have a question for you, because I know that you are actually competing coming up in a new thing. Do you want to talk about it a little bit? Because I actually want to know your thoughts on this. Like, High Rocks is a hype. Coming to Doha, like, you know, I was talking about this on my previous episode. Like, Doha knows how to sell hype. They're just like,
Yes,
the hype
they do.
masters over here. So you're going to be participating in it. And I wanted to know what your thoughts are on High Rocks, this new baby that's coming up.
I think if they do like keep going the way they're going, like hold their cards right, I think it's going to become the next, like, bigger than CrossFit.
You think so? Why?
I honestly, well, CrossFit's not going to disappear, obviously, but I think the next years are quite crucial in CrossFit's development, like how they treat their people and like how they do things. High Rocks seems to be doing all the right things. Like, obviously it's a different kind of competition, but it is something that interests all of us. Like, this is our mentality. We're like, okay, like, we can grind for an hour, like, and how, you know, like, we're competitors. And we, like, for CrossFit, you have to be a good runner. And this is like, these are all movements like we're very familiar with. So, like, trying it out is like, yeah, it's like inevitable. Like, you are going to do it at some point. Like, I also think just for like the average person, High Rocks, just in terms of like the competition, like how it is, like, you cannot go to a city for a CrossFit competition or like pop in, like, it's a 3-day event. It's so long, and you just go there and you just like, you have to like have everything, you know, like, it's a 3-day thing.
In High Rocks, you just go in, you come out, and after an hour and you're done.
It's in 1.5 hours. And then like, it's still like a competition, and like, you know, people can come watch it. Like, no one is like, I'm not saying no one, but if I could choose to go watch a competition for 1.5 hours or 3 days, I would choose the 1.5 hour. Like, it's like, we're one and done. We're done. Yes, and then I can go doing other things. Like,
exactly.
It's much less for people just to pop in, like, for an hour and a half.
100%.
Than for the whole weekend.
You're like camping for CrossFit. It's like literally like you have like your people, like people have flown out. They're just like, you know, hotel reservations and everything. You're like, no, here it's just like easy breezy. So you like the workouts in High Rocks. So you feel like this is something that could potentially have.
I do think they're going to need to change like the exercises.
Say
like,
it, girl, say it.
Someday, you know, for now they're just like, it's a new sport that they're building, but
you think they should switch the
a little bit, like, just to keep it a little bit interesting. But yeah, I think if they play their cards right, they could become like very, very big. But it's interesting to see like how it will be. It's
just you started hearing whispers of High Rocks. And all of a sudden it just became louder and louder. And now it's like, boom, in your face all the time. It's like when people used to like make memes about people who CrossFit and all they talk about is CrossFit. Now it's like people are making memes about High Rocks and how all people's conversations like, well, you know, I'm doing High Rocks and I'm training for High Rocks.
I think the endurance part of it is just like very appealing. Like, people love to run these days. They do the half marathon and the marathons and everything.
God bless these people, honestly. I don't know how they do it.
But I also think it's very like, these exercises are very like, anyone can do them. Like in CrossFit,
they're more accessible, right?
Yeah, and in CrossFit, you look at these people like doing all these heavy lifts and everything. You're just like, no, that's not for me.
Yeah, I could
but never. I can do a wall ball. I can run.
Exactly. I could run. I could do some farmer's carries. I could do some burpees. I like that. I like that perspective. So, Sola, I like to come into the part of our interview where I just ask you a few questions about you so that our lovely viewers can get to know you a little better. First, I would like to know, okay, if you could have like, I don't want to call it a cheat meal, but that meal that like you're not supposed to have often, but you love to just indulge in it. What's that meal for you? What's your comfort food?
I think it would be like, what first comes to mind is like a big bowl of pasta.
What kind of pasta do you like? What kind of like, is you have a specific
just like
one?
Creamy.
Okay, like we're talking about the white sauce, the butter, the milk, like everything.
A lot of Parmesan.
All right, on top.
I think something like that. I'm not a huge pizza person.
Okay.
I can eat the burgers are like probably my next go-to.
Okay. You should more like savory, not sweet. Do you have like a sweet that you're just like, oh, I need this in my life?
Honestly, I need to watch myself because the sweets I can eat a lot of.
I see you munching down those sour. Gosh, she is my source. Like whenever I'm like, I need sugar, I look around. I'm like, oh, Sola's here. Let's see what sugar snacks she has today.
I really need to watch myself because yeah, I'm the type like I can go all in on
You like the gummies?
the gummies and even just like the bakery food.
Oh yeah. Okay, like the cakes and the cookies
yes,
and the.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there's nothing off the table.
No. There's nothing off the table.
It's like just give me more, give me more.
Yeah, and I feel like me and my boyfriend are very different in that sense because he doesn't really like it, but and then he'll get something and he's like, I don't really love it, so he'll just like leave it, and I'm just like, what do you mean? Like I don't love this, but I'm gonna finish it. Like, but, like I could never just like even if I don't love it,
it's gonna be done. We're gonna finish this up.
I don't understand that.
I love it. Oh my God, that's so funny. It's like we're just gonna finish our plates. We're gonna wipe it clean. All right. A random question. What is your star sign?
A Taurus.
You're a Taurus. So your birthday's
May 14th.
May 14th coming up. Oh my God, after High Rocks.
Yes.
Oh my
day after
goodness.
No. Yeah, is it the day after?
I think it's the day after High Rocks or 2 days after High Rocks.
I'll be sore.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be sore. You're gonna be really sore, girl. Any fun plans?
Nothing yet. I don't know. Like, no, I don't know.
Okay.
Nothing planned.
Nothing planned.
No.
Is there something that you really want to? Okay, obviously you've achieved so much. What's the next peak for you? Like, what's the next? Like, where's your next mountain?
I think I still don't know what I'm gonna do in the future.
Okay.
You know, like so I think like figuring out my next steps is gonna be the next thing, and I am a competitive person, obviously, and I always need like a purpose. So the transition from like an elite athlete to not an elite athlete has been like, it's been a journey, and I need to find something else, you know, to excel at, because I don't feel good if I'm just average. You know what I mean? Like, this is my
the fear of being average. I love that.
Yeah. And I so yeah, we have a few ideas that we're like thinking of, just for like businesses in Iceland, and you know, like just jobs, you know, like something to do, something to excel at.
Yes,
you know? So we
definitely.
have I don't want to work a 9-to-5 desk job. That's not something.
That's not what we're going for. No. Good. Don't. Don't. It's not the vibe.
No.
It's not the vibe. Good for you. No. So you're trying to figure it out right now.
Yes. So yeah.
And if you could spend, where's somewhere that you want to see, like a place you want to travel? I know that you're big on traveling. You just came back from Japan. So is there what's like the next spot that you're just kind of like, oh, I really want to go there. I want to check it out.
Next one, like obviously Japan was up on a bucket list for a long time, and it was amazing. I think like Australia is always a cool place to visit.
Where our boy Khaled is from. Yep. He'll give you the spot.
I do want to go there.
He'll give you the spots.
It's like like Japan as well is like that, but it's like, I feel like it's a different planet. Like,
different ecosystem maybe.
Yeah, I'm like, I watch like videos of it. Like if someone is traveling, I'm like, wow, like, you know, like this is just so different. I do want to go there, and I probably like I do want to travel a little bit to like Asia, like Sri Lanka, or like these areas a little bit more. I've been, the most like exotic place I've probably been is Bali, which is like very common. I loved it there.
I loved it there too.
I do want to go to like more like excluded places. You know.
Yes, a little bit like one-off places, like these places where you're just like, you're on an adventure. You're like, okay, amazing. I have a question for you. What is a question you wish people asked you?
Wow, that's a tough question.
Because I can imagine that like most of the conversations are always about your athleticism and your athletic career. And obviously, I mean, duh. But what is something like if you were on an interview or on a podcast, like right now, you just wish someone asked you, like, I wish someone would just ask me this question because I really wanted to talk about it?
Maybe like about family, like like what just how I see, you know, my future being and stuff like that. That's maybe something that comes to mind. I feel like I'm a pretty open person. Like,
I was going to say you're very open because some people never want to ask that. Like women are always like, why are you asking me this question?
Yeah.
You know, like it's nice that you would want that, like a question to be asked to you. Do you want to have kids?
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, I do. It's something, you know, that will probably or hopefully happen like maybe this year. We'll see. But yeah, definitely.
It's something that you want.
Yeah, I think in Iceland it's very common to have kids like early. And like,
how early is early? Like what are we talking about
like
here?
22, 23.
Okay, young.
Like for us, it's like you meet someone, you have kids, then you get engaged, then you get married. Like
okay, it's a different it's a different schedule than what most people is usually. Get engaged, get married, then think about having children. Wow. Okay.
And I always thought I would be a young mom.
Okay, so you thought like that you by now would have a couple. Oh, why really?
I thought like by 24 I'd definitely have a kid, and now I'm turning 29 in 2 weeks and no kid.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel I've done a lot of stuff.
A lot of, you have done a lot of things. It's
I've lived in a lot of places.
Yeah.
I've traveled a lot. Like I have friends all over the world. I have competed in something big.
Yes.
You know, like I've gone after my dreams. It's a very different life than I thought I was gonna have, like back then. So I feel definitely that it wasn't supposed to happen, because obviously I didn't even know my spouse or anything like that. So, but it is a very different life than what I had imagined. But at the same time, I feel very, you know, like settled in. You know, I'm so ready for it because I've done so much.
Yes.
I feel very at peace.
100%.
With
you've kind of like lived what you wanted to live and more, because you probably never, I mean, I'm sure like younger Sola would have never imagined that she'd be living in Qatar right now and had gone to the, you know, CrossFit Games and everything. But like you said, like you've done so much, ticked more boxes than you probably had written down, you know, and it is a good time. Like, cause I know that a lot of women always say like, I wish I had done more before I had children. And I guess that's always going to be the case. Cause I mean, I feel like as a woman, we're always just, I don't know what it is about us, but we just like are never off.
Yeah. And I feel obviously you're always going to love your children when they come, like that's not the question. But you are gonna think about, you know, all the things you maybe didn't do.
Yes.
And I know you can travel and everything with kids, and you can even travel and everything with your spouse when your kids have grown up. And like I know this. Yeah. But it's not the same.
It's not the same, definitely
as
not.
when you're like young and like finding out who you are.
100%.
I would probably be a very different person if it had happened before, like earlier.
For sure.
And I feel, it's just.
Have you come to peace with it?
Yeah, okay. yeah. And it's just like I'm excited for like the next chapter and everything, and
you feel like ready and prepared for it because you feel like you've done.
Yes, but at the same time, I was just speaking about this to my friend earlier. It is like a blessing and a curse having waited so long. I know I'm not this like old, but I'm not where I thought I was gonna be. Like, and all like my best friend, she has 2 babies, like 1 4 and 1 2. Like, And my sister is now having her first baby. She's 3 years younger than me. Like she's expecting in a month.
Yeah.
My cousin, like 1 year older than me, has 1 6-year-old, and then she just had one today actually.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, like your entourage.
Yeah, it's all, everyone has a family already, or like kids and everything, and I was just speaking to this like about this to my friend. I feel like it's very, because I've waited so long.
Yes.
I don't have the excuse to like just wing it. You know what I mean? Like when I was like, if I would have been like so young doing it, like I thought like I had nothing figured out, and like girls in Iceland, like they do this, like they have children very young.
Yes.
And it's just like Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a saying in Iceland, like þetta reddast. It's gonna go, like it's gonna be fine.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Like it's a little bit like Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that has kind of, and that's okay because you're so young, and that has kind of been taken away from me.
Oh, let me tell you, sister. Hold up.
Because I'm now like I'm 30, and if I'm gonna do it, like it's gonna be planned. You know, like it's not gonna be an accident.
Okay.
You know.
Let me lay it out for you. As a woman who has 2 kids, one of which was a very happy accident.
Yeah.
Like you can plan all you want, and then your kids are gonna come and be like, "Oh, we got plans."
Yeah.
Like, and you're gonna figure it out as you go. I know what you're saying. Young, the Hakuna Matata life.
Yeah.
And you're looking at these young girls and like, wow, you're just like winging it, and it's working for you. As you get older, you're matured, so you know like certain things, and you won't accept certain things, and you want certain things done in a certain way in a certain time. You think you have control, and then you have kids. I'm gonna let you know from now.
You're never gonna be ready.
You're never. And you know what it is? Like that's the beauty and the part that gives people anxiety about it. It's just like you can read every book and watch all your friends and babysit and like probably like, you know, have them babysitting for weeks and weeks and maybe months at a time. When you have your own, you're gonna transform. And I'm telling you this in the most beautiful way. You're gonna just there's a part of you that's going to die. And then you're going to become a phoenix. You're going to be reborn.
Yeah.
I always say the day my daughter was born was the day I was born.
Yeah.
Because Adele, prior to that, was a completely different human being. I don't even know her. Like, I'm just kind of like, I look at my pictures and my videos before and I'm like, oh, she's cute. But I can't relate to her anymore because it's crazy. So I just want, like, one thing I always tell women who talk to me about this is just plan for the unplanned. And then just let it go. Like they're going to show you the way. Like you're essentially my daughter. She raised me.
Yeah.
You know, and she's the reason why I am who I am. Like she made me a mom. Like, and I wasn't a mom before that moment, and she taught me how to be a mom. Not me learning this on my own. She did. So I just want to let you know that you're going to be amazing. You're going to do fine. And don't put that pressure on yourself, because I see a lot of women, you know, who are approaching 30 or in their 30s do put a lot of pressure on themselves and they expect such big things from themselves. And that's amazing. And I think that's so good for a woman to expect things out of herself. But I just want you to know motherhood will rock you. Like it's never before, in the best way, in the best way. So I feel like I'm so glad that you talked about this, because it gives people like a different like layer to you. You're not just like athlete. Here she is. She wants a family. She wants like to do this, and that's so beautiful. Like I love that.
Yeah, thank you. It's I feel like that's definitely gonna be the next step in my life. Or like our life.
Yeah.
It's really much looking forward to it. I am sure when I meet my little nephew in a month, I'm gonna be my bells are gonna be ringing.
Your ovaries are gonna be high-fiving each other. It's literally gonna be like, it's time. It's time. Oh my god, I love that for you. I love it. You're gonna have baby fever. I can just imagine it. I just imagine it. Before we conclude, I want you just, if you have one thing to say, maybe not just to women, but I mean, I am a very woman-empowered podcast, but what would you want to tell the viewers at home? How do you want to wrap it up?
I mean, I think if anything, I know the cliche of like you can do whatever you want to do. And like your story doesn't have to be what you think it will be.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I never thought I would be where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And like everything, I'm very much a believer now when like everything happens for a reason. And like when you meet people and they guide you,
Mm-hmm.
like even though it's painful at
Yes.
certain times, like they are gonna, like there's a reason you're seeing them.
Yeah.
And there's a reason things happen.
Yeah.
I know like you are your own, like you make your own luck
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that. I do believe that as well. But everything like you're going through is gonna lead you somewhere. Like I'm not religious, and if I was, I would say like God has a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's written for you,
Mm-hmm.
and everything that will what's meant for you is gonna find you, and like everything is just
It's all this all a random puzzle until you see the bigger picture, until you can
Yes.
zoom out. Like
yeah.
things are just happening and you're just like, why is this all happening? I don't get it. And then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, that's why.
I did read a really nice book the other day. It's called The Midnight Library. Have you read it?
No, I haven't.
You have to read it. It's
Okay.
it's a story, but it's like a story of like how each decision you make, like your life is like so many, like millions of decisions, and that guide you, and like, and each decision you make like is gonna shape your life.
Like shifts it kind of
Yes.
thing. Wow.
And it's just a beautiful story, and it makes, you know, it's
Puts things in perspective.
yeah, and yeah, it's just you should read it. It's your next project. It's
Definitely.
really nice.
I will. I love good book suggestions. So I'm
Yeah.
going to put that on and you guys too as well. Put that out as your book suggestions. So I wanted to thank you so much. This has been like, you just really brought so much wisdom into this podcast. And I'm really appreciative of you spending your time here with us today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. And fam, like I always say, I want you all to keep growing and glowing, and I will see you all next week on Spill the Matcha. Peace.